Imagine being completely alone, the ultimate outcast with zero hope left. Yunha-ju's life is a living hell, until a ridiculously handsome guy walks into her life and whispers, "I'll be your friend." But Hae-soo Lee isn't a normal student. He's a chilling ghost boy with a terrifying secret. The moment Yunha accepts his hand, her bullies start meeting very dark, unexpected fates. He comes to her covered in fresh blood, wearing a seductive, psychotic smile that screams danger. He's offering her absolute protection, but the price might be her soul. Is this mysterious boy her bloody salvation, or a fatal curse she can never escape? This is Classmate. In a cold, dark void, Chu Eun-ha lies submerged in despair. Her wrist bears the heavy mark of her deepest sorrow, a stark contrast to her pale skin. Her thoughts echo in the emptiness. She is crushingly lonely and has lost the strength to face tomorrow. The scene shifts to the present day, 2008, at Dongga High School. An announcement is made to the new first-year students. There are 2 rules they must follow. First, never set foot in the crumbling, abandoned annex on the hill behind the school. In the classroom, pencils scratch across paper. The second rule is revealed as the focus lands on Chu Eun-ha, sitting alone with a hollow, distant gaze. No one is to ever speak to or bother her. The warning is clear: get too close, and you will be cursed. Chu Eun-ha sits alone at her desk, the wooden surface covered in hateful messages. Sharpie ink screams insults at her. "You ghost, seeing weirdo, you're creepy." Cruel words are scratched deep into the wood, telling her to just disappear. She stares forward, a silent figure in the green-tinged classroom, surrounded by the venom of her peers. To them, she is not a person, but a curse to be avoided at all costs, a rule to be obeyed. The torment escalates in high school. In the classroom, the bathroom, the gym storage, there is nowhere for Chu Eun-ha to hide. She sits on the dusty floor, uniform smudged with dirt, her face marked by cruelty. A boy leans in, poking her forehead and mocking her tears. With a trembling voice, Eun-ha asks why they do this, insisting they know she cannot actually see ghosts. The group's leader smirks coldly. She admits they know the truth. The reason, she explains with a chilling smile, is simply because it is fun. There is no complex motive. It is just hilarious watching her squirm. Chu Eun-ha shoves past them and runs. She flees into the overgrown woods until her lungs burn, her heart hammering against her ribs like a desperate drum. The frantic chase leaves her breathless, collapsing near the rusted gates of the old, haunted annex. Her skin is flushed with heat and fear. The shouts of her pursuers close in, their voices slicing through the heavy air. Trapped with nowhere left to go, her panicked gaze scans the oppressive greenery. Suddenly, her eyes lock onto something, and her breath catches in her throat. Her heart hammers against her ribs at the sight of the chained gate. But a sliver of hope appears. The chain is loose. The thought of her pursuers is a burning fire behind her. She would rather walk into this ominous building than let them catch her again. She pushes the heavy door open, the creak echoing in the silence. Inside, the air is thick and still, a place frozen in time. She steps into an abandoned classroom, a strange calm replacing the heat of her fear. Here, she thinks, she might finally be safe. In her classroom, Chu Eun-ha's absence does not go unnoticed. Her empty desk sparks cruel whispers among the students and quiet disdain from her teacher. While they speculate, she rests peacefully in the quiet annex, finding a moment of solitude. Suddenly, a strange warmth envelopes her, pulling her from sleep. Her eyes flutter open, not to the dusty, abandoned room she fled to, but to her own classroom. It is bathed in an unnerving amber glow, filled with silent figures. The air thickens as 2 shadowy forms with wide, knowing smiles emerge, their whisper brushing against her senses. That's her, the one who sees ghosts. Vicious whispers coil around Chu Eun-ha, telling her she is cursed and drives everyone away. "It's all lies," she cries, but a classmate just smiles cruelly, saying the truth does not matter when no one cares anyway. As despair washes over Eun-ha, a shadow rides in the air. The chill of the room is suddenly broken by a possessive warmth as Lee Hae-soo materializes behind her. His hands rest on her shoulders, a steadying weight. The air thickens, charged with his presence, a silent promise only she can feel. The air crackles with a possessive heat, as Lee Hae-soo's hands tighten on Chu Eun-ha's shoulders. He leans in close, his voice a chilling lesson whispered just for her, promising to show her how it is done. The classmate's smug expression shatters into pure terror as she finally sees the monstrous shadow looming behind Eun-ha. A silent scream is swallowed by encroaching darkness, the bully's form dissolving into nothingness. With a sharp gasp, Chu Eun-ha jolts awake. The nightmare's fiery red glow vanishes, replaced by the sickly green of a dusty classroom. A dream? She wonders, panting. Chu Eun-ha stands frozen, a chill running down her spine as she recognizes the dusty classroom from her nightmare. This can't be, she whispers, her confusion mounting. A sudden, loud clatter from a corner cabinet makes her flinch, and she sees a pile of books has tumbled onto the floor. Deciding to clean up the mess, she crouches down. Among the scattered texts, a single red notebook catches her eye. It is labeled Guest Invitation. Her heart pounds as she flips it open, discovering it is a guide to a spirit summoning ritual, a dangerous rite with a stark warning. A cold dread creeps up Chu Eun-ha's spine. She clutches the red notebook, a single thought echoing in her mind. She needs to get out. But it is too late. Her bullies step from the shadows, cornering her. The leader snatches the book, her eyes scanning the pages. Guest invitation, she muses, a slow, malicious grin spreading across her face as she understands. A spirit-summoning ritual. She looks directly at Eun-ha, her voice dripping with menacing excitement. This should be fun, right? Chu Eun-ha can only tremble, frozen by pure terror. In the dim school hallway, a group of students excitedly discuss a plan. One of them holds up a small, dark board, suggesting that spirit summoning sounds like fun. The very idea sends a jolt of panic through Chu Eun-ha. Her eyes widen in terror, and she immediately turns and bolts down the corridor, desperate to get away. But she does not get far. A hand suddenly lunges out and yanks her back forcefully, her escape cut short. Her captor, a male student, sneers, asking if she was trying to run. The other bullies gather around, their expressions cruel. One girl smirks and demands an apology, telling Eun-ha to get on her knees. With a forceful shove, they throw her to the floor. Eun-ha cries out, landing hard on her knees amidst rough, splintered edges littering the wooden planks. Tears well in her eyes as she trembles, whispering how much it hurts. The bullies show no mercy, one ordering another to hold her down. They mock her for coming to a place declared off-limits due to ghost sightings. A girl points to the classroom sign, Class 3-1, and adds that this room has the most reports. She leans in close to Eun-ha's terrified face, her voice a low taunt. "You claimed you couldn't see them," she says. "Quit lying." The girl with the pink bun leans in close, a cruel smile on her face as she questions if Eun-ha can see the spirits. Trembling, Eun-ha stammers that she cannot, that being in this classroom was a mistake. Unconvinced, the bully offers a twisted deal. If Eun-ha does exactly as they say, they will let her go. Another student grabs Eun-ha, holding her firmly so she cannot run. The others begin their ritual, writing the word "welcome" in red on torn paper, pasting the eerie invitations on every window and door. The air in the classroom grows thick with an oppressive heat. A boy holds Chu Eun-ha, taunting her about her past, but his words are lost to the frantic beat of her heart. For their ritual, they prepare a grim offering. Cheap chocolates and a cup filled with the dark toll of her ordeal. Using her phone as a candle, they force her to read from a book. Her voice trembles as she whispers the invitation into the suffocating silence. "Welcome, guest." Finished, she looks up with a fragile plea, asking if she can finally go now. A sharp shove sends Chu Eun-ha stumbling back to the floor. The air grows thick, hot, and suffocating. The bully smiles, revealing the cruel catch. The host who greeted the guest must stay until the invocation is complete. Panic flares in Eun-ha's chest as the others file out, their taunts echoing. The door slams shut, the handle barricaded from the outside. "You promised," she screams, her voice trembling. Her heart hammers against her ribs as she pounds on the door, trapped alone in the oppressive darkness with their ominous invitation. Elsewhere, the bullies explore a dark, abandoned building. One of the boys laughs, suggesting it is a perfect place to hang out unnoticed, but the girls are unnerved. The windows are boarded up, and strange sounds echo in the halls. Two of them split off, heading down a dark stairwell alone. The girl admits she was only pretending to be brave and calls Chu Eun-ha a clueless idiot. Suddenly, they freeze. At the bottom of the steps, a figure lies motionless. They stare in shock. It is Chu Eun-ha, surrounded by a growing shadow of her fading strength. The boy's flashlight beam cuts through the oppressive darkness of the stairwell as he insists he saw something. His companion dismisses his fears, her voice trembling slightly as she reminds him they made sure no one else was there. The light reveals nothing but empty, decaying steps. Suddenly, her eyes widen in terror. A silhouette now stands at the bottom, an unnerving stillness to its form. Before they can react, an immense, menacing shadow envelopes them from above. A heavy thud echoes in the silence. Nearby, another girl hears the noise and cautiously investigates, only to find one of her friends collapsed and motionless on the floor. The girl rushes to her friend's side, her voice trembling as she demands to know what happened. A sudden chill runs down her spine. Her eyes catch movement in a dusty mirror on the wall. A menacing silhouette looms behind her reflection. Before she can react, a shadowy force grabs her, and she collapses to the floor, motionless. In another part of the building, Chu Eun-ha slowly sits up. A shiver racks her body as she notices two dark, ominous shadows on her shirt. How much time has passed? She wonders aloud, her voice small in the empty, desolate room. A deep chill seeps into Chu Eun-ha, a coldness that has nothing to do with the summer air as she sits alone in the oppressive darkness. Suddenly, a presence is there, a startling warmth against her back. A hand covers her mouth, firm and possessive, stifling her gasp of surprise. His body is pressed close, a shield against the void. A low voice murmurs directly into her ear, his breath a hot whisper against her skin that sends an unfamiliar tremor racing through her entire body. "They're here," Lee Hae-soo breathes against her skin, his voice a possessive hum. The warmth of his body shields her, but a deeper cold seeps into Chu Eun-ha's bones. She can feel them, countless spirits gathering in the dark, their whispers a chorus of desperate need. She holds her breath, certain that if they find her, it will be the end. Then, a sudden, heavy silence. The whispers vanish. In the oppressive quiet, a single, terrifying question burns in the void, as if written in the darkest ink. "Is it me?" A voice echoes in the oppressive darkness, the same one from Chu Eun-ha's dream. Her blood runs cold. Why is she hearing it now? The bedroom door slowly creaks open, revealing a distorted, shadowy figure. Her heart freezes in her chest. This is not the boy she knows. A monstrous entity looms over her, its face split by a terrifying, all-consuming grin. A chilling voice slithers into her mind, claiming she invited it here. The question hangs in the air as she stares, paralyzed, wondering what unholy thing she has just welcomed into her life. The air in the dark room grows thick and heavy as a terrifying, shadowed form materializes before Chu Eun-ha. Her heart hammers against her ribs, a frantic rhythm in the suffocating silence. A distorted voice, like an echo from a deep, watery place, pulls her name from the air. It asks why she summoned it, questioning if she, too, only wanted to use its power. Frozen in terror, Chu Eun-ha stammers, denying it. With a trembling voice, she insists it was the other students, the ones who tormented her, who made her do it. The monstrous entity looms closer, its voice a low rumble. It notes that while it sensed others, only Chu Eun-ha carries the scent of the forsaken. The air grows thick, charged with a sudden, terrifying warmth. Against a blood-red void, the creature's jagged smile widens as it declares, "I like you." The shadowy form dissolves, reforming into a boy, Lee Hae-soo. He floats toward her, his presence overwhelming the small space. He whispers that she is just like him, that he can feel the heavy weight of her loneliness. His hand reaches for her, and a desperate plea escapes her lips, "Save me." A bright flashlight beam slices through the darkness. A security guard's voice cuts through the silence, asking who is there. He explains he saw a light from the window and found other students passed out nearby. His light finds Chu Eun-ha, standing completely still. He calls out to her, asking for her grade in class, but she does not answer. Suddenly, her body goes limp, and she crumples to the floor. The guard rushes forward in a panic. Chu Eun-ha's eyes slowly flutter open. She sits up, confused, finding herself in her own bed. She is still in her school uniform, and fresh bandages are on her knees. Her eyes widen as the memory of the night before floods back in a dizzying rush. Chu Eun-ha awakens not in her bed, but in a hospital room. A doctor's words about her father are a distant drone as her mind struggles to piece together the night's events. How could they have all collapsed? The memories are a confusing, terrifying blur. As she sits up, her fingers brush against something solid in her pocket. She pulls it out, a plastic school name tag. A wave of heat rushes through her as she reads the name in stark letters. Lee Hae-soo. Her heart hammers in her chest. The proof is real. In the drab teacher's office, one of the students points an accusing finger at Chu Eun-ha. He claims she was performing some kind of ghost summoning ritual. Chu Eun-ha flinches, her eyes wide with shock. That's a lie, she cries out, insisting they forced her. The teacher sighs, rubbing his tired eyes. He informs her that Tae-rin is unconscious in the hospital. As her bullies are dismissed, they shoot a triumphant, wicked smile her way. The teacher then corners Chu Eun-ha, gripping her arm tightly. His face is a mask of desperation as he begs her not to breathe a word of what happened. I'm only a few years away from retirement, he pleads, asking her to just keep her head down. Chu Eun-ha steps into the suffocating quiet of the school hallway, the heat of shame still on her cheeks. Her bullies are waiting. They immediately corner her against the lockers, their sneering faces uncomfortably close. One grabs her chin, her grip like a vice as she demands to know how Eun-ha escaped the cabinet. The air crackles with tension. With a triumphant grin, the girl reveals that Tae-rin is awake. A cold dread spreads through Eun-ha's chest as the final, chilling promise is whispered into her ear. She wants to see you. In the suffocating silence of the empty classroom, cruel words carved into her desk burn Chu Eun-ha's eyes. Despair clutches her heart as she wonders if it would be easier to just disappear. She climbs onto the window ledge, a quiet surrender as she looks out into the void. But her resolve shatters, and she collapses to the floor, defeated. A sudden warmth floods the room as a low voice asks, "Were you really about to step off the edge?" Chu Eun-ha looks up, her breath catching, as a familiar black shadow materializes from nothingness before her. The warmth from his presence spreads through the classroom as Lee Hae-soo's shadowy form solidifies before her. Chu Eun-ha's breath hitches. She recognizes the monstrous, tooth-filled grin from her nightmares. He perches casually on a desk, his dark eyes fixed on her. He offers to free her from her tormentors, his voice a low, tempting hum that makes her heart pound. "Invite me back into your class," he commands, promising her bullies will never bother her again. Trembling, she asks why he chose her. A shadowy smile spreads across his face. "Because you and I are alike." The heat in the room intensifies, mirroring the storm inside Chu Eun-ha. Memories of her tormentors and the dismissive adults flash through her mind, solidifying her resolve. A life of being trampled on is no life at all. She decides she would rather befriend a ghost. Lee Hae-soo watches her, his monstrous smile widening. He instructs her to perform the ritual. With a trembling hand, she makes a binding vow, letting a single, dark drop fall onto his name tag. She places the offering on the desk. "Welcome, guest," she whispers, her voice barely audible. The vow-marked name tag vanishes from the desk. Chu Eun-ha gasps, her eyes flying up to find it pinned to Lee Hae-soo's uniform. He stands fully formed, his shadowy hands solidifying as he murmurs, "Finally. Good." A suffocating heat radiates from him as he steps impossibly close, the air crackling between them. He leans in, his voice a low vibration against her skin as he says her name. "Chu Eun-ha." He smiles, a possessive curve of his lips. "Please take care of me." Her heart hammers against her ribs, caught between terror and a flicker of hope. Chu Eun-ha hurries through the quiet school halls, her heart pounding with anticipation. She reaches the classroom, sliding the door open only to find it completely empty. Disappointment washes over her. He had promised he would be waiting. "I must have been out of my mind," she whispers, convincing herself it was all a dream she foolishly believed. But it wasn't a dream. The familiar voice cuts through the silence. Chu Eun-ha turns, stunned. Lee Hae-soo is right there, a knowing smile on his face as he watches her. The air grows warm, charged with his sudden presence. Chu Eun-ha jumps, her breath catching in her throat. "When did you get here?" she stammers, completely startled. Lee Hae-soo leans on his hand, a lazy, confident smile spreading across his face. He tells her he has been waiting from the very beginning. His dark, knowing eyes watch her, filled with amusement as he asks if she really came just like he told her to. The air in the empty classroom thickens, growing warmer with every frantic beat of her heart. His intense gaze pins her in place. Lee Hae-soo suddenly reaches out, his fingers wrapping around Chu Eun-ha's hand. She flinches, her heart skipping a beat as she asks what he is doing. The touch is strange. His skin feels real, but icy and impossibly fragile, like glass submerged in cold water. He watches her with an amused smile, asking if she finds it fascinating. Leaning closer, he murmurs that she is the only one who can touch him, because she is the one who called for him. Just as abruptly, he pulls his hand away, warning that prolonged contact is not good, not yet. A click echoes as a classmate turns on the lights, asking why she is sitting in the dark. Chu Eun-ha freezes, her heart sinking with a terrifying realization no one else can see him. The classroom fills with the normal chatter of students, a world she is no longer fully part of. It is a day just like any other, except for one thing. The seat beside her, always empty, is now filled by a classmate only she knows exists. A chill runs down her spine when the teacher asks if Kim Tae-rin is still in the hospital. Lee Hae-soo leans in close, his voice a low breath against Chu Eun-ha's ear. He murmurs that he knows about Kim Tae-rin, the girl who locked someone in a closet and wishes she would never return. After being called out by the teacher, Hae-soo's shadow looms over her, his voice turning cold as he asks if she is ignoring him. Her hands tremble as she scribbles a reply on paper, explaining that no one else can hear him. He softens, admitting he forgot. A strange warmth fills the air as he asks why she speaks so formally, like he is not a friend. A quiet, breathy laugh escapes Lee Hae-soo as he covers his face. Chu Eun-ha's cheeks flush, her heart thumping with a confusing mix of fear and curiosity. He is far more mischievous than she anticipated. To avoid another close call, she leads him to a secluded path surrounded by trees. The air feels heavy. He smirks, asking if she is taking him to the annex. She stammers a denial, insisting she just wanted a private place to talk. His constant, fascinated questions about the modern classroom all day had nearly given them away. Lee Hae-soo smirks, unconcerned. It's not like anyone besides you could notice me. Chu Eun-ha's expression fills with pure dread. She explains that people already called her crazy. She could see spirits. If they found out now, the torment would be unimaginable. His features harden, a chilling smile touching his lips. Just then, a harsh voice echoes through the trees. Eun-ha gasps as another student, Park Soo-hyuk, strides toward her with a girl. He grabs her arm forcefully, his grip tightening. He sneers, asking what she is doing in this creepy place, and suggests they should all have some fun together. Chu Eun-ha struggles against Park Soo-hyuk's crushing grip, her voice cracking as she begs him to let go. He only sneers, questioning if she feels brave now that it has been a few days since her last lesson. Panic floods her eyes. She turns, her plea a desperate whisper, "Hae-soo, Lee Hae-soo, please help me." But Lee Hae-soo remains perfectly still, a chilling, dark silhouette against the trees. Her heart sinks into a cold pit of dread. He promised he would help her. A cruel smile plays on the bully's lips as he suggests trying the shadow game. He explains the chilling rumor that stealing someone's breath lets them see spirits. Announcing he wants to do it properly this time, he lunges toward a terrified Chu Eun-ha. She cries for him to stop as he closes in, his hand reaching for her. In an instant, the lights flicker and extinguish, plunging the room into darkness. A voice curses, cut short as they all see a menacing, dark silhouette materializing in the barred window. The overhead light flashes erratically, blinding Park Soo-hyuk as he cries out. Stumbling back, he feels a cold liquid drip onto his face and questions if it is water. Chu Eun-ha gasps for breath, her wide, terrified eyes staring upward. Park Soo-hyuk follows her gaze and freezes. Suspended upside down from the flickering light is Lee Hae-soo, a chilling silhouette. As the boy stares in disbelief, a menacing voice echoes in the dark. Keep going. Lee Hae-soo's form distorts into a monstrous shadow, a terrifying grin spreading across his face. You're interesting. In a dimly lit storage room, A man's eyes widen in sheer terror as he stares at the ceiling, letting out a panicked scream. A woman behind him flinches, her voice trembling as she asks what has gotten into him. "You're scaring me," she exclaims. He stumbles backward onto the floor, his fingers shaking as he points upward, insisting there was something black on the ceiling. The woman glances up, her expression a mix of fear and annoyance. "There's nothing there," she says, but just as she speaks, a sharp cracking sound erupts beside her, and she screams. In the eerie green glow of the storage room, Chu Eun-ha clutches her chest, her wide, fearful eyes fixed on the space above. She softly whispers Lee Hae-soo's name into the tense air. A girl nearby covers her mouth in horror, her mind racing with the terrifying thought that they are not alone. On the floor, a panicked boy sweats, stammering in sheer terror. He scrambles to his feet, stumbling as he turns toward the door, his voice cracking as he insists they need to get outside right now. A sudden, sharp cry of pain echoes through the storage room as the boy is violently pulled to the floor. He clutches his ankle, his face contorted in agony, screaming that something is terribly wrong. Sprawled on the ground, he desperately calls out to the girl standing frozen nearby, pleading for her to help him. But she is paralyzed by fear, her eyes wide with shock. As he screams at her again, her body trembles and she turns toward the door. "Are you insane?" he yells, his voice filled with desperation as a hand reaches for a dumbbell. Panic grips the girl as she fumbles with the storage room door. Her hands tremble as she pulls the handle, her voice cracking as she demands to know why it will not open. The handle rattles uselessly. Suddenly, with a violent bang, the door bursts inward, throwing her backward onto the floor. She cries out in pain and shock. The boy, still on the ground, looks up in confusion. He then glances down at his own legs and realizes the invisible grip is gone. He mutters in disbelief, questioning how his feet came loose. A sharp voice cuts through the tense air, calling out the name of the boy on the floor. In the now open doorway, another student stares into the dark room, his expression frozen in shock. Chu Eun-ha looks up, her own wide eyes locking with his for a split second. Without warning, the boy she was trapped with screams and scrambles to his feet, fleeing down the hall in a blind panic. Left alone on the cold floor, Chu Eun-ha chokes back a sob, her hand flying to her throat as she gasps for air. A gentle voice breaks through her terror, asking softly if she is okay. The quiet concern hangs in the air, a sudden warmth that causes her frantic heartbeat to stutter in her chest. A hand cups Chu Eun-ha's cheek, the touch startling her. Looking up at Lee Hae-soo, she asks why he just watched, why he only appeared now. His gaze is chillingly calm as he explains he had to see it for himself, to understand just how much she was suffering and how truly horrible her tormentors are. He leans closer, the air between them growing warm and heavy. His voice drops to a low whisper, promising that now they can make them pay exactly what they deserve. He tells her she does not have to worry anymore. Lee Hae-soo leans closer, his voice a low, intense promise that he will never leave her to face things alone again. The air between them grows warm, charged with unspoken intensity. A shaky thank you escapes Chu Eun-ha's lips. Her mind is a whirl of relief and fear. She knows if he had not appeared, it could have been much worse. Still, a chilling question echoes in her thoughts. Can she really trust him? Meanwhile, in a hospital room, the student who discovered her frantically insists he is telling the truth. He saw him. He yells. Someone was standing right next to Chu Eun-ha. In a frantic attempt to make sense of the chaos, a girl insists it is all connected to the spirit summoning. Her voice trembles as she explains her bad feeling, convinced a real ghost latched onto Chu Eun-ha. From a hospital bed, another student scoffs, dismissing the idea as a ridiculous story. But a boy beside her quickly shuts down the disbelief. He challenges her, demanding to know if she can explain why Chu Eun-ha suddenly collapsed. He leans forward, his voice low and urgent, insisting there is something happening that none of them understand. The girl in the hospital bed wonders aloud if it is all just her imagination. In a flash, her expression shifts, a cold smile forming as she accuses her friend of blaming her. The visiting girl freezes, her eyes widening in sheer panic. Rising from the bed, the injured student's voice grows sharp, demanding an answer. Her friend stammers a denial, but she only leans forward, mockingly cupping her ear. She claims she cannot understand, mumbling and tauntingly invites her to come a little closer and say it again. Before the visiting girl can finish her thought, Quan Bona lunges. With a sharp glint of metal, she brings a heavy object down in a swift, vicious motion. Another boy shouts, trying to restrain her, but the strike lands. Her friend collapses to the floor with a cry of pain. The boy rushes to her side, looking up at his impassive classmate and asking if a ghost is responsible. The standing boy looks down at the chaotic scene, a dark curiosity in his eyes as he murmurs that this is quite interesting. Chu Eun-ha groans as she wakes, shielding her eyes from the sun. A quick look outside confirms her suspicion. It is already Sunday. She wonders how she managed to sleep through the entire weekend. A sharp sting on her knee makes her wince. A large, dark bruise has formed beneath her skin. Sitting in the bathroom, she carefully covers the scab with fresh bandages. Her stomach rumbles loudly, reminding her she is hungry. After finding nothing in the kitchen, she opens the freezer. Her eyes light up as she discovers a packaged bread, a snack she got from school. Chu Eun-ha tears open the packaging and takes a large bite of the bread. This will have to last for today. At her small table, she calculates that if she fills up on school lunches, she can make it until next month. Her phone buzzes, displaying a simple message. Her dad has deposited money. It is the first she has heard from him in a month. As the silence of her apartment settles in again, Lee Hae-soo's intense promise echoes in her mind. I won't leave you alone. Heat rushes to her cheeks. She shakes her head, trying to clear the sudden, warm memory. Why is she thinking of that now? Her expression sobers, a flicker of concern crossing her face as she recalls the last time she saw him. Her mind drifts back to the school gate, to Lee Hae-soo's smiling, shadowed face. He apologizes, explaining he cannot step beyond the boundary. The memory stings. Alone in her starkly lit apartment, she sinks into a quiet fantasy, a question blooming in her thoughts. What would it be like if he were here with her now? A sudden warmth spreads through her chest, his dark silhouette filling the empty space in her mind. As she wrings a cloth in the bathroom, his other words echo, his dark promise to make her bullies pay. The distorted image of Lee Hae-soo's terrifying smile fills Chu Eun-ha's thoughts, his promise echoing. Her bullies will never set foot in the classroom again. She wonders what he plans to do. A darker part of her takes over, admitting that she hopes they suffered just as she did. A brief, satisfying memory of their comeuppance flashes through her mind. It was their own fault, she reasons. They deserved it. Still, an unsettling feeling lingers. Even though he was the first to stand up for her, there is something about him that truly scares her. On her rooftop, Chu Eun-ha snaps a wet sheet onto the clothesline. A thought interrupts the chore. Even if they are friends, she knows nothing about him. Her mind drifts, picturing Lee Hae-soo as he must have been when he was alive. Handsome, popular, surrounded by smiling classmates. How could someone with such a seemingly perfect life end up trapped at school forever? The question hangs in the air as she loses her footing and tumbles backward. A chilling image of his monstrous face flashes in her thoughts, a stark contrast to the boy she just imagined. As evening settles, Chu Eun-ha remains on the rooftop, a thought echoing in her mind. Maybe Lee Hae-soo was also very lonely. Later, she lies in bed, staring into the darkness. Sleep does not come. Her thoughts are a fever, circling endlessly around him. A warmth blossoms in her chest, insistent and unsettling. She knows one thing for certain. She wants to understand him. She needs to know what happened to him, why he is confined to that school. A quiet resolve takes hold. Perhaps if she uncovers his secrets, this burning curiosity will finally fade. Under the full moon, the school falls into a deep silence. Inside a darkened classroom, the air is thick with anticipation as a shadowy figure stands amongst the empty desks. The quiet is broken only by the loud ticking of a clock on the wall and the slow creak of the classroom door sliding open. A man in a baseball cap and tracksuit peeks in, his face etched with caution. He whispers to himself, checking that he is truly alone, before slipping inside. He collapses into a chair, staring at the empty desk before him and muttering a name in frustration. The man recoils, covering his mouth as a wave of revulsion hits him. A cold, menacing voice slices through the suffocating silence. He was sent to see if there was anything to find, but what he has discovered is a nightmare. A pale hand appears, dangling two shattered tokens as a grim warning. Didn't I tell you to give an appropriate example? The voice chides. On the desk, several slips of paper are arranged, each one bearing a name scrawled in a dark, ominous hue next to a chilling command for their end. The plan solidifies in his mind. Make Chu Eun-ha look like the unstable soul who cursed the whole class. He briefly wonders what she could have done to deserve this, but quickly pushes the thought away. It is not his problem to solve. Pulling on a thin glove, he prepares to spread the dark marks across a few desks to complete the setup. But a sudden, chilling sensation stops him cold. He whips around, eyes wide with alarm. The classroom is empty, but he feels an unnerving certainty. Someone is watching him from the shadows. The man mutters, trying to dismiss the unnerving feeling as his imagination. He was already on edge, and the paranoia just irritates him. Across the room, hidden by the deep blue shadows, Lee Hae-soo sits casually on a desk, a cold smirk on his face. "Idiots," he says, his voice a low whisper that carries through the silence. He notes that the man has not changed at all. A shadowy hand descends, enveloping the man's silhouette in a crushing grip. Lee Hae-soo decides he will be the first. "You'll do well." At 6:40 in the morning, a student in a baseball cap walks through the empty school hallways. He thinks to himself that to avoid suspicion, it would be better to return to the classroom a little later. But his plan hits a snag when he sees a guard already sweeping by the front gate. Annoyed, he decides it is not worth the risk of being caught. He turns away, choosing to take the secluded mountain trail behind the school instead. As he walks through the dense woods, he suddenly halts. Another pair of feet blocks his path. Confused, he wonders why he has not arrived yet. The student trudges along the mountain path, the air growing thick and hot. He grumbles to himself, frustrated that the route is taking so long. His heavy footsteps are the only sound, or so he thinks. A prickle of awareness runs down his spine. Has he been hearing other footsteps for a while now? The thought gets on his nerves, a low hum of anxiety starting in his chest. He glances over his shoulder, his heart beating a little faster. He wonders if someone is behind him, or if it is just his imagination again. He scoffs, trying to quiet the frantic beat of his heart. He tells himself he freaked out for nothing, but the incident in the gym storage room still clings to his mind like the humid air. Annoyed, he dismisses the paranoia and forces himself to walk on, his heavy footsteps the only sound in the oppressive silence of the trail. But then, another sound joins his. A second set of footsteps, deliberate and perfectly in sync with his own. He freezes, a wave of cold dread washing over him. He is no longer alone. The student's footsteps come to a sudden, jarring halt. His entire body goes rigid. Before him, a dark silhouette stands motionless on the path. A cold wave of terror washes over him, and his legs give out completely. He collapses onto the dusty trail. The shadow before him begins to twist and writhe, uncoiling into a tall, spindly nightmare with a terrifying grin. A distorted voice echoes in his mind. "You." The monstrous creature leans down, its presence suffocating as it asks if he remembers seeing this before. The student can only stare, his eyes wide as choked. Terrified gasps escape his lips. The monstrous figure leans closer, its distorted voice echoing in the student's mind. It asks if he enjoys toying with something already lifeless. Before he can process the question, a horrifying, skeletal grin flashes through his mind, followed by a chilling command. "Then feel it for yourself." A searing agony erupts across the student's face. He collapses to the ground, screaming as his body trembles uncontrollably. He clutches frantically at his own face, his cries swallowed by the woods. "My face," he chokes out. "It hurts." A shadowy tendril snakes from the darkness, and he pulls his hands away, revealing a twisted, marred reflection of what was once there. The dark entity dissolves into the air, vanishing like smoke into the teal-hued gloom. A moment of silence hangs over the sun-dappled forest path, where a single, abandoned shoe is all that remains of the terrifying encounter. The school bell chimes, pulling the scene back into the mundane world of a classroom. Two students chat about the day's lunch menu, but another classmate is not focused on food. She stares at her phone, her expression filled with a growing dread as she nervously chews on her thumbnail. Park Soo-hyuk. She thinks, her stomach twisting. It is already lunchtime. Anxious, the student grips her phone, her thoughts racing. Why isn't he here? Why won't he pick up? Her worried gaze shifts across the room, and settles on Chu Eun-ha, who sits silently at her desk. A cold dread washes over the girl. What if something happened again? Her pride bristles at the thought of being intimidated by Eun-ha, but the feeling is undeniable. A disturbing memory flashes, an incident that felt unnatural. The horrible realization dawns on her. She's the one, she thinks, trembling. She summons ghosts. A strange quiet settles over the classroom. Chu Eun-ha notices the empty desks. Her usual tormentors are absent. A rare, unfamiliar warmth blooms in her chest as she wonders when she last had such a peaceful day. Her gaze drifts to Lee Hae-soo, who stares out the window with a soft, content smile. Seeing him so serene, a sudden courage sparks within her. Her heart pounds as she finally asks him to tell her about himself, why he chose her. Lee Hae-soo turns, his dark eyes widening in genuine surprise, caught completely off guard by her question. Chu Eun-ha leans forward, her cheeks flushed as she insists, I really want to know. A wide, delighted grin spreads across Lee Hae-soo's face. He leans closer, the air between them crackling with an unspoken energy. His sudden happiness confuses her. He suggests they go to the place where they first met after school. The annex, she whispers, her heart thudding in her chest. With a confident, knowing smile, Lee Hae-soo promises that there, he will show her exactly who he is, sending a shiver of anticipation through her. A boy with glasses, Choi Jian-woo, stays behind in the empty classroom. As another student leaves, he waves him off, saying he has things to take care of. He turns to the window, watching Chu Eun-ha walk alone across the school grounds below. His fingers nervously fidget with a beaded bracelet on his wrist. Heading to the annex again, he thinks with a heavy heart. A shadow crosses his face as he watches her go, a sense of dread washing over him. He wonders what he should do, fearing that if this continues, there will be no turning back. The air is thick with anticipation as Lee Hae-soo leads Chu Eun-ha to a forgotten building, its wooden doors looming in the warm glow of sunset. With a heavy creak, he pushes one door open, revealing a sliver of light from within. He turns back to her, a magnetic, unsettling smile playing on his lips. Hurry up and come in, he urges. Chu Eun-ha hesitates, her expression a mix of confusion and apprehension. He leans in, his dark eyes locking onto hers as his voice drops to a low whisper. You said you wanted to know who I am, right? She flinches, her heart hammering as she stands on the threshold, caught between fear and a desperate need for answers. Chu Eun-ha follows Lee Hae-soo into the dark, abandoned annex, her footsteps echoing on the dusty wooden floor. The air grows thick, pressing in on her like deep water as unsettling visions of grinning specters flash through her mind. Her heart hammers against her ribs. He stops ahead and turns, his calm voice cutting through the silence. Why are you so tense? Scared of the ghosts? A strange warmth floods her chest despite her fear. She flinches, quickly denying it. No, it's not that. I'm fine, she insists, her voice trembling slightly. A chilling grin spreads across Lee Hae-soo's face. He reassures Chu Eun-ha that as long as he is around, the bullies will not touch a single hair on her head. His dark promise hangs in the air, a strange and unsettling comfort. Her heart pounds as she finally voices the question that has been on her mind, observing that among all the spirits, he seems uniquely strong. He smirks, denying it is strength and cryptically stating he has just been around for ages. The air grows heavy with unspoken history as he asks, Then do you know why this annex was shut down? Lee Hae-soo smirks, his answer vague. He simply says the annex was already worn out even when he was here. A prickle of doubt runs through Chu Eun-ha. She knows it is not the whole story. Her mind races with questions, a desire to know more warring with the fear of pushing too far. Deciding to wait, her heart a quiet drum, she follows him down the dark, dusty corridor. He stops at a doorway, beckoning her inside. A warm light spills out as she reads the old sign above, 3rd year, Class 1. Lee Hae-soo explains that 10 years ago, this was his classroom. The words hang in the air, and Chu Eun-ha's eyes go wide. She stammers, admitting she thought he was a first-year student like her. A blush blooms on her cheeks as she panics, realizing she has been speaking informally to a senior. She trembles, wondering what to do. He bursts into genuine laughter, completely amused by her reaction. Chu Eun-ha tries to explain. pointing out his name tag was the same color as hers. A soft smile plays on his lips. Lee Hae-soo dismisses her concern, telling her age is irrelevant since he is not among the living. With a gentle smile, he tells her to call him whatever feels most comfortable. Chu Eun-ha hesitates before agreeing to use his name. "Call me Hae-soo," he says softly. He then speaks her name, Eun-ha, and the sound sends a jolt through her. A deep blush spreads across her cheeks, a strange, warm flutter taking hold in her chest. Shaking her head to clear the feeling, her thoughts latch onto something else, the spirit summoning ritual. A thought sparks in Chu Eun-ha's mind, the spirit summoning notebook. She drops to her knees to check under the desk, but it is gone. Panic flutters in her stomach. Who could have possibly taken it? Her eyes land on Lee Hae-soo, leaning against a desk in the warm, dusty light. He looks so solid, so real, that her breath catches in her throat. He turns his head, and she flinches. Pointing to an empty seat, he explains that is where he sat. Confused, Chu Eun-ha asks who he means. He replies without looking back, "My one and only friend." Chu Eun-ha finds it surprising, admitting she pictured him being very popular. Lee Hae-soo looks away with a wistful smile, explaining that he was always alone and this friend was the very first person to approach him. A warmth spreads through Chu Eun-ha's chest as she asks where his friend is now. The air in the room grows heavy. Lee Hae-soo's face falls in a shadow as he says he misses him, often imagining what he would do if they met again. His hand suddenly grips a desk, the wood groaning under the pressure. The sound makes her jump. A chilling smile forms on his lips. "I'd ask if he was okay," he whispers, casually, as if nothing had happened. The casual smile on Lee Hae-soo's face twists into a menacing grin. He continues his story, imagining his old friend would look at him and ask, "How did you manage to get out of there?" The question hangs in the air, chilling Chu Eun-ha to the bone. She does not understand. Hae-soo's voice drops lower, describing how he would then grab the boy as he tried to flee and watch him plead. "Stop it!" Chu Eun-ha shouts, her voice trembling. Lee Hae-soo rises from his seat, his gaze fixed on her. Lee Hae-soo's eyes darken as he questions her. "Why? You think I'm being too harsh?" A tremor runs through Chu Eun-ha as she stammers his name. Suddenly, he grabs her shoulders, his grip firm and unyielding. The warmth from his hands feels less like comfort and more like a brand. He snarls that his friend was a traitor who just used him before leaving him all alone. The air crackles, the room tinted red by his rage as he declares that anyone who betrays a friend deserves what is coming to them. He then turns his intense gaze back on her, closing the space between them until she can feel his breath. "Eun-ha," he whispers, a dangerous smile on his lips. "What about you? Do you think I'm wrong too?" Lee Hae-soo leans in, his face close to Chu Eun-ha's. He murmurs, asking if the cat has her tongue. She freezes, her heart pounding against her ribs as she stammers a denial. The dark, intense atmosphere feels heavy around them, his menacing smile just inches away. But just as the tension peaks, he pulls back, a bright laugh shattering the mood. He cheerfully asks if he scared her, calling the whole thing a joke. Chu Eun-ha stares, stunned and confused by the sudden shift. He reaches a hand toward her, his expression now soft and apologetic. A warm flush creeps up Chu Eun-ha's neck as Lee Hae-soo explains he only meant to startle her out of her trembling. But her heart still races from the shock. "Do you have any idea how terrifying that is?" she asks, hot tears blurring her vision. Frustration and vulnerability wash over her. She confesses she is drawn to him and wants to understand him, but his cryptic nature keeps her at a distance. Wiping her eyes, she resolves to guard her heart, unsure if he is a safe harbor or a dangerous storm. Lee Hae-soo's voice is a low, intense whisper as he calls Chu Eun-ha's name. Suddenly, he grabs her from behind, his touch sending a jolt through her. He confesses that she is the first person who ever approached him, the first one to ask to be his friend. Stunned, Eun-ha whispers his name, her heart pounding. The moment hangs heavy between them, but just as quickly, he turns away with a cryptic smile. He dismisses it as nothing, suggesting they head back. Confused, she stammers her agreement, walking on as a new, tangible distance separates them. The walk back is shrouded in a heavy silence. Lee Hae-soo does not say a word, so Chu Eun-ha follows his lead. Questions swirl in her mind, but an unspoken barrier keeps her from asking. Suddenly, He stops under the dark sky and turns to her. Unha, he says, promise me one thing. Confused, she listens as he forbids her from going to the school's annex unless it is daytime and he is with her. She asks why, but he offers no explanation. A faint, knowing smile plays on his lips as he tells her she will understand soon if she waits. Please, he adds, his intense gaze holding hers, leaving the air thick with unspoken secrets. Chu Eunha's heart hammers in her chest. She has never seen Lee Hae-soo speak with such chilling seriousness before. A memory flashes in her mind. Him, always alone, and her, the first person to reach out. That thought solidifies her resolve. Okay, I promise, she agrees, her voice trembling slightly. Looking up at him, she adds a condition. He must tell her everything later, because she is his friend, too. The tension between them breaks as a wide, genuine smile spreads across his face. Okay, he says, the single word sealing their pact. 3 days after Park Soo-hyuk's disappearance, a tense quiet hangs in the faculty office. A female teacher, Ms. Choi, approaches Mr. Lee's desk, asking if there is any news. She voices a rumor that the student went missing after visiting the school annex. Her face pales as she wonders aloud if this could be like what happened 10 years ago. Mr. Lee's expression immediately hardens. He hushes her, glancing around the room and warning her to never bring that up. He tries to dismiss her concern, sighing that Soo-hyuk is a troublemaker who has run away before. The sharp ring of the telephone cuts through the quiet of the faculty office. Mr. Lee picks up the receiver, his face contorting in shock. The voice on the line confirms his identity as Park Soo-hyuk's homeroom teacher before delivering the chilling news. A missing person report has officially been filed. Elsewhere, a student with a bandaged nose takes a frantic phone call. "Tae-rin," she cries out. Her friend's voice comes through, small and distant, explaining that the police came to the school, asking everyone questions. "I overheard something," she adds ominously. Her friend's voice trembles over the phone, explaining they found a baseball cap on the walking trail behind the school. An image flashes of the distinctive purple cap Park Soo-hyuk always wore. "This is just my guess," her friend whispers nervously, "but it's really a ghost." From her hospital bed, the girl with the bandaged nose just smirks. "Things are getting interesting, huh?" she muses, before giving a stern warning. Wherever she goes, she must never mention Chu Eun-ha. "You want me to show up at school like this?" she asks, gesturing to her swollen face. A student argues into her phone, her face pale with fear. "But what about me?" she pleads. The voice on the other end cuts her off, demanding she kneel since it is all covered. The phone snaps shut. Standing by a brick wall and trash cans, Kim Tae-rin trembles, remembering the taunts. "You think this is fun?" the voice had asked, threatening to deal with her right then and there. Letting out a furious scream, she kicks the nearby bins in a fit of rage. Meanwhile, on a hospital balcony, another student considers the situation. First fainting, now he's missing, she muses. It's like someone planned this on purpose, just to scare us. On the hospital balcony, the girl in the patient gown puzzles over the events. She thinks about how on Monday, the classroom was normal, and Park Soo-hyuk's parents assumed he had gone to school. She wonders if he just ran away from home. Suddenly, her phone vibrates with an incoming text. Curious, she opens it. Her eyes widen in utter shock. The phone slips from her trembling fingers and clatters to the ground far below. On the screen, a picture is displayed. A photo of her, standing right where she is now, taken from the ground just seconds ago. A cold dread washes over her as she realizes she is being watched. A woman in hospital pajamas walks onto the grass, her gaze fixed on a lone flip phone. She hurries to it, snatching it up and flipping it open. Her breath hitches. A message has finally come through. She wonders how this is possible, questioning if it is an error. The timestamp is from 3 days ago, from someone named Park Soo-hyuk. As the distorted screen clears, a chilling photo appears. A figure holds a small, ruined token inside a dark classroom. A whisper escapes her lips as she tries to comprehend the horrifying sight. What is that? A slow, chilling smile spreads across the woman's face as she stares at the city skyline, whispering a single name into the wind. Eun-ha. A dark promise forms in her mind. She will show her what true fear feels like. Meanwhile, back in a quiet classroom, the afternoon calm shatters. A teacher stands before his students, his expression heavy with grim news. He confirms their hushed worries. Park Soo-hyuk has not been reachable. He announces that this morning, Park Soo-hyuk was officially reported missing, asking if anyone has seen him. The teacher's final warning hangs in the air. Do not spread rumors, just go home. As students file out, whispering about the news, Chu Eun-ha stands frozen. The confirmation that Park Soo-hyuk is truly missing sends a chill through her. She slowly packs her bag in the now empty classroom, but a shadow falls over her. One of her tormentors stands in the doorway, her face a mask of rage. With a heavy step, the girl advances. Chu Eun-ha flinches, her breath catching as raw fear floods her senses. A sudden warmth spreads through Chu Eun-ha as Lee Hae-soo appears, his breath close to her ear. Her heart stammers, and she whispers his name, anxiously glancing around the empty classroom. He simply smiles, asking if she has something to say. Hesitantly, she finally asks the question weighing on her mind, if he knows where Park Soo-hyuk is. The atmosphere turns icy. Lee Hae-soo's expression darkens, his face dissolving into a chilling silhouette with a terrifying, disembodied grin. He calls the missing boy trash. Oh, his voice echoes from the void. I dealt with him. The classroom dissolves into darkness, leaving Chu Eun-ha suspended in a terrifying void with Lee Hae-soo. His voice is a low promise, assuring her that no one will ever find his final resting place. Her heart hammers against her ribs. Park Soo-hyuk is gone forever. A terrifying heat floods her as his monstrous shadow leans closer, reminding her that this was his vow, to free her. The intensity is suffocating. Suddenly, reality crashes back. A classmate's voice cuts through the haze, asking why she is just standing there, pulling her from the chilling vision. A terrifying question echoes in Chu Eun-ha's mind. If Lee Hae-soo really did what he claimed, could she handle it? A dark part of herself just grins back at the thought. Snapping back to the present, her cheeks burn hot as she clumsily thrusts her old MP3 player toward him. Stuttering, she asks if he likes music, desperate to break the suffocating silence. It is her only hobby, she blurts out. Lee Hae-soo simply tilts his head, a hint of confusion in his eyes at the sudden, awkward shift in conversation. Chu Eun-ha nervously explains that her old MP3 player only lasts 30 minutes, trying to fill the quiet between them. A strange nostalgia flickers in Lee Hae-soo's eyes. He tells her that 10 years ago, they had what were called Walkmans. For a fleeting second, the classroom dissolves into a hazy memory of him listening to a cassette tape under a willow tree. The air grows warm, thick with the intimacy of this shared glimpse into his past. But just as quickly, he dismisses it all as ancient history that holds no meaning, his voice turning cold. Confused, she asks why. You used to like it, remember? Chu Eun-ha says, her voice filled with confusion. Lee Hae-soo's gaze turns distant, a strange melancholy in his eyes. He tells her, I was never the one who liked it. His cryptic words hang in the air, following her as she walks home alone under the sunset. Her mind races, connecting the dots. He must be talking about that friend from his past. A shiver runs through her as she recalls his sudden, dark shifts in personality. A theory forms. Is that friend the reason he cannot leave this school? She is still too scared to ask him directly. The city glows with the warmth of the setting sun, but a chill runs through Chu Eun-ha. Her grip tightens on her bag strap as she replays the moment, admitting she was too frozen by fear to do anything. A terrible question surfaces, coiling in her gut. He did not go too far with Park Soo-hyuk, did he? She pushes the thought away, clinging to the belief that Lee Hae-soo has a good heart, despite his frightening side. Tomorrow, she vows, she will find the courage to ask him directly as she climbs the stairs home. The moment Chu Eun-ha opens her front door, a figure emerges from the shadows. Her breath catches. It is Park Soo-hyuk, a bandage stark against his nose, a chilling smile playing on his lips. He muses that her house has not moved, then pushes past her. The door clicks shut, trapping them in the sudden, oppressive warmth as her heart hammers against her ribs. He takes a slow breath, commenting on the familiar musty smell. Can we talk for a moment? He asks, his voice a low promise. Just talk. His intense gaze pins her in place. A footstep sounds in the apartment. Chu Eun-ha flinches, her eyes wide with terror as she stares at an unexpected visitor. A woman with a bandage on her nose offers a condescending smile. Eun-ha's voice trembles as she demands to know how she got in. The woman simply taunts her, asking why she is being so hostile to a guest and mocking the rundown state of the home. Overwhelmed, Eun-ha orders her to get out. The woman's grin widens as she leans forward, challenging her with a simple question, "What if I don't?" Chu Eun-ha stands her ground, fists trembling at her sides as she declares she is not afraid anymore. The woman breaks into a fit of mocking laughter. "You've become brave, haven't you?" she taunts, pointing out that Eun-ha cannot hide her shaking. Eun-ha flinches, her resolve crumbling. The woman's smile turns sinister as she reaches behind her back. Instead of a weapon, she pulls out an old flip phone. She holds up the screen, explaining it is a photo from Park Soo-hyuk that she just received today. The image on the phone shows a cat sprawled across a desk. Chu Eun-ha's breath catches. It is her desk. Before she can question it, the woman lunges, pressing the cold, heavy edge of a metal tool against her neck. Eun-ha gasps, frozen in terror. "Listen carefully," the woman whispers, her voice intense. She explains that she always lived a normal life, but recently, bizarre things have started happening. One person vanished without a trace, she says, while another is left terrified, insisting it was the work of a ghost. The woman snaps the flip phone shut, her eyes burning with accusation. Leaning closer, she presses the cold metal harder against Chu Eun-ha's throat. "What did you do?" she hisses, demanding to know if this is some kind of curse. Eun-ha's mind races back to Lee Hae-soo's dark, possessive promise that those who tormented her would never set foot in the classroom again. The memory of his words is a phantom warmth against the icy terror. But the feeling vanishes as reality crashes down. He is not here. She is utterly alone. A strange smile spreads across the woman's face as she lowers the metal tool. "Oh, don't be so afraid," she says, insisting she could never harm anyone. But her hand slips into her pocket, wrapping around a lighter. Her gaze shifts, locking onto a nearby aerosol can. Just as Chu Eun-ha gasps, a sudden warmth envelopes her. A dark figure moves in a blur, pulling her into an embrace of safety. Lee Hae-soo now stands before her, a protective wall, holding the can and the lighter he took, the air growing thick with his silent promise. A cruel smile stretches across the woman's face as she leans over Chu Eun-ha. She whispers that true fun is tormenting someone until they completely break. A sharp click echoes in the room, and a small flame dances to life in her hand. The sudden heat is a terrifying promise, a stark contrast to the protective warmth Eun-ha desperately needs. Her heart pounds a frantic rhythm against her ribs, a silent plea for the one who can make this nightmare stop. The woman laughs, holding the can and lighter ready. A wide, unsettling smile spreads across the girl's face as she holds a small bottle. She admits she knows Chu Eun-ha is plotting something. "You hated Park Soo-hyuk that much?" she asks, her voice deceptively casual. Leaning in, she presses a finger to Eun-ha's forehead, offering to hand the boy over as a twisted gift. Stunned into silence, Eun-ha can only stare back in horror. The girl waves him off as a disposable tool, promising to make sure no one at school can ever touch her again, a dangerous proposition hanging in the air. The girl's smile widens, finding the situation suddenly entertaining. She admits she was getting bored, but now she is curious to see how far Chu Eun-ha will go. "Give it your best shot," she challenges. Her expression darkens as she presses a bottle firmly against Eun-ha's cheek. The cold surface is a stark warning. She wonders aloud what might happen to Eun-ha's pretty skin if she were to fail. Terror grips Eun-ha as she whispers that she understands. Her tormentor looks on, a triumphant and chilling grin on her face. The chilling thought crosses Chu Eun-ha's mind. Kim Tae-rin is the type who would harm someone without a second thought. The message is crystal clear. Later, as dusk settles, Eun-ha numbly opens a can for dinner. Her solitude is broken when Kim Tae-rin appears at her door, a bandage on her face but a triumphant smirk on her lips. She dares Eun-ha to call the authorities, boasting that prosecutors and police are all family friends. With chilling confidence, she promises she will never face consequences. "See you at school tomorrow," she chirps, leaving the threat hanging in the air. In the suffocating silence of her empty home, Chu Eun-ha's composure finally shatters. Tears stream down her face as she collapses, overwhelmed by despair. Her thoughts drift, not to the mother whose face is a faded memory, or the distant father she rarely sees. The person her heart aches for is not even among the living. She thinks of her friend, believing he is still at school. Across town, in a dark, moonlit classroom, Lee Hae-soo sits alone by the window, a perfect mirror to her own profound loneliness, waiting. Under the light of a full moon, a student stumbles through a dense forest, his breath catching in his throat. He wonders why he cannot seem to get off this stupid hill, feeling like he has been walking for an entire day. A stark red message reveals the grim truth. Park Soo-hyuk has been missing for 2 days. He clutches his head, trying to piece things together. His last clear memory is sending a photo from his phone after class. Then, a terrifying, distorted image floods his mind, a ghost. He recalls meeting that figure on the mountain, just before a cold hand grabbed his face. A burning memory surfaces, the feeling of his muscles on fire as he desperately tried to run. He gasps for air, still trapped on this dark, desolate mountain. His phone is useless, the screen showing no signal and a dying battery. He clutches his throat, a searing thirst making it hard to breathe. The phantom sensation of something sharp under his skin returns, followed by a horrible wriggling. He recalls the intense agony, but now, a strange calm settles over him. He feels no pain at all. Mist swirls through the dark, lonely woods as Park Soo-hyuk trudges forward. A faint, muffled sound cuts through the oppressive silence. A voice. Hope ignites in his eyes. Could it be a person? Not caring who it is, so long as they are human, he shouts into the fog. Hey, over here. He listens intently. Relieved the sound is not the voice from his terrifying memories. Lifting his phone, he pleads, "Who's there?" The flashlight illuminates his own horribly twisted face as he begs into the darkness. "Please, help me." Drawn by faint voices, a lone figure trudges into the eerie, mist-filled woods, wondering if he should press forward into the unknown. The scene shifts to a quiet school hallway where Chu Eun-ha stands frozen before a classroom door. The air grows thick and warm around her. She reaches out a trembling hand, but falters. Her heart hammers against her ribs, a frantic rhythm that makes her feel sick to her stomach. Clutching her shirt, she is overwhelmed by a consuming dread, her wide eyes reflecting a terror she cannot escape. The memory of yesterday flashes through her mind, a classmate's unsettling smile and a chilling promise to see her at school. Her fear holds her captive right where she stands. Suddenly, the classroom door slides open, revealing Lee Hae-soo. His dark eyes scan her face with concern as he asks what is wrong. A wave of intense heat washes over Chu Eun-ha, and she flinches back, unable to form words. His gentle expression evaporates, replaced by a sharp intensity. He leans in closer, his voice low and demanding. "Something happened, didn't it?" he presses. "Tell me right now." The air around them grows thick, radiating an intense heat as tears well in Chu Eun-ha's eyes. She begs Lee Hae-soo to stop, her voice a strained whisper as she fights to keep from breaking down. Suddenly, her panic gives way to a dark realization, and a chilling smile spreads across her face. A single thought consumes her. She can ask him to deal with Kim Tae-rin for good. The sudden shift in her energy is palpable. Lee Hae-soo's sharp gaze narrows, sensing the change instantly. He leans closer, his voice low. "Wait a second. Chu Eun-ha." Chu Eun-ha steps back, asking for a moment to think alone before turning and walking down the empty hall. Lee Hae-soo watches her go, his expression tight with concern as he quietly asks if she can wait. As she disappears from view, a classroom door slides open nearby. Kim Tae-rin steps out, greeting her surprised classmates with a bright smile. While they talk, a sinister shadow with piercing eyes watches them from the window's reflection. Far away in the school courtyard, Chu Eun-ha sits alone, her head buried in her hands. Sitting alone on a bench, Chu Eun-ha's thoughts spiral. She calls herself an idiot, recalling how just yesterday she was worried for Park Soo-hyuk, yet now she is contemplating having Kim Tae-rin removed from her life for good. Her hand clenches into a tight fist as she decides this is the only way. Dark memories surge, reminding her of the pain she endured and the scars left behind. An inner voice calls this a once-in-a-lifetime chance to make them pay. An image of Lee Hae-soo's menacing smile flashes in her mind. Her own eyes widen in turmoil as a single question haunts her. I was the one who suffered, so why am I the one who is worried? Chu Eun-ha's hands clench into tight fists. Why should she be the one agonizing over this? A thought solidifies in her mind, her heart pounding with the certainty of it. Lee Hae-soo is with her, and he can handle anything. They are friends, after all. As she whispers this reassurance to herself, the sound of footsteps pulls her from her thoughts. They stop directly in front of her. She looks up, startled, to see a boy with glasses. He calmly touches a beaded rosary on his wrist, remarking that he did not come with her this time. Chu Eun-ha flinches, his words catching in her ears. He is referring to the thing that is always by her side. A tremor of shock runs through her as she stares up at him, her heart hammering against her ribs. How can he know? She glances at his name tag, Choi Jian-woo, a senior. He leans in, his voice dropping as he asks about the annex. Kneeling before her, his gaze locks onto hers, creating an intense pressure. He warns her to stay away, insisting the danger is far greater than she could imagine. If you're hearing this, you belong to the elite 1% who actually finished the story. Look, bringing these characters to life isn't just a recap, it's a marathon. Hours of editing, scripting, and late nights go into every second of this video, just to make sure you get the best experience possible. If I earned your time today, drop a like and smash that subscribe button. It's free for you, but it means the world to me. Welcome to the Manhwa Dragon family. Now, get ready, because the next chapter is going to be even wilder.